Heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drum against bone as the woman's vice-like grip tightened on my arm. Her face, a mask of furious entitlement, was inches from mine, and all I could stammer out was, I don't work here. Please, let go. But she didn't let go. She just dug her nails in harder, pulling me closer to the disastrous candy display I'd been foolishly trying to tidy. I was already completely wiped out, bone-tired from an unexpected 2-hour extension at my actual job, a retail gig where my own team leader had guilt-tripped me into staying. All I'd wanted was a 1-hour break, a chance to grab some much-needed sugary comfort from the supermarket down the street before heading back to the grind. But my innate, apparently self-destructive need for order had seen this chaotic shelf of spilled lollipops and half-empty bags, and I just thought, oh, I can totally fix this. Big mistake. Huge. Don't lie to me, you lazy girl, she shrieked, her voice cutting through the supermarket hum. I saw you. Now where are the organic, fair trade, sugar-free gummy bears shaped like unicorns, and don't tell me you're out. I pointed frantically at the tiny name tag pinned to my own work shirt, the one with my store's logo, not this one. Look, I don't work for this supermarket. I'm on my lunch break. My voice was thin, shaky. She just scoffed, ignoring my protests completely. Excuses! You're just trying to avoid helping me. Now find them, or I'm speaking to your manager. A knot of dread tightened in my stomach. Other shoppers were starting to stare, their gazes a heavy weight on me. My cheeks flushed crimson, and I could feel the beginnings of a panic attack bubbling up. This was not how I wanted to spend my break. Just when I thought I might actually hyperventilate, a kind-looking older man stepped forward. Ma'am, I think she's telling the truth. Her uniform isn't. Before he could finish, the woman rounded on him. Stay out of this, sir. This employee is being incredibly rude and unhelpful. She yanked my arm again, hard enough to make me stumble, pulling me back into her orbit. That's when an actual supermarket employee, a young guy with a harried expression, finally arrived, drawn by the commotion. What's going on here? He asked, looking between us. I tried to explain, really I did, but the words caught in my throat, tangled and useless. My heart was pounding so hard I felt lightheaded, and my vision blurred a little. All that came out was a pathetic, gasping sound. The entitled lady, however, had no such problems.
This girl,
she bellowed, pointing a finger at me like I was a criminal. She's refusing to help me. She's lying about where she works, and she's being incredibly rude. I just asked for help finding something, and she practically assaulted me. My jaw dropped. Assaulted her? The sheer audacity of it left me speechless. And then, the worst part, I saw some of the other customers nodding, their faces filled with pity for her, not me. They were siding with her. My panic spiked. The supermarket employee, looking bewildered by my lack of coherent speech, eventually took me by the elbow and gently but firmly steered me away from the screaming woman. Let's just step over here for a minute, he said, trying to de-escalate. Once we were a little distance away, he asked, Okay, can you tell me what happened? Calmly. It took a few shaky breaths, but finally I managed to string words together, explaining about my own job, my break, and my ill-fated attempt to tidy the shelf. He listened patiently, and then, bless him, he went to get the manager. The manager, a calm, no-nonsense woman, quickly reviewed the security footage. She returned, her expression firm. Ma'am, she told the entitled lady, the cameras clearly show this young woman not being an employee of this store. She was simply trying to straighten a display. And you need to leave, now. The woman sputtered, but the manager's tone left no room for argument. I watched, a weird mix of relief and lingering terror churning inside me, as the entitled lady was escorted out. The manager turned to me. I'm so sorry, sweetie. You really don't work here. I just nodded, my legs feeling like jelly. I grabbed my candy, because damn it, I earned that sugar, and practically fled the store. The overwhelming feeling didn't quite dissipate, even as I walked back to my own job, even as I finished my shift. That night, recounting the story to my best friend Sarah, I just felt violated. It's not your fault, Astrid, she kept saying, hugging me tight. Some people are just unhinged. But the story wasn't quite over. The next day, still reeling, still feeling that lingering anxiety, I went back to the supermarket. I needed to know. I found the manager and cautiously asked, "What happened with that lady yesterday? Did she actually leave?" The manager sighed, running a hand through her hair. "She did, eventually, but not before she got physical. She punched me when I insisted she leave the premises." My blood ran cold. She punched the manager. I couldn't believe it. The overwhelming feeling from yesterday returned, magnified tenfold. It could have been me. Sarah was right. Some people really are unhinged. "You did the best you could, Astrid," she reiterated later that day, sensing my renewed distress. "You got out of there, and that's what matters." So yeah, that's my story, guys. A simple candy run turned into a full-blown nightmare, all because I tried to be helpful when I was exhausted. It's a stark reminder that sometimes trying to be a good person can backfire spectacularly, especially when you run into someone who thinks the world owes them everything. Stay strong out there and don't let anyone make you feel like you deserve that kind of treatment.
If you're still watching, you're clearly into this stuff. Go ahead and subscribe. I've got more stories just like these. Now, on to the last one.
My partner, Liam, slammed the steering wheel, a harsh thud that barely registered over the banshee wail of our siren. "Ethan, fuel light just kicked on! We're running on fumes!" My gut twisted. "Seriously? We just left the station." He shot me a look, his face drawn. I know, it was a critical trauma call, dude. My mind was elsewhere. Yours too, clearly." He wasn't wrong. Adrenaline had been pumping hard from the moment dispatch yelled Code 3. We'd grabbed the keys and bolted, completely forgetting the cardinal rule: always top off. Now a critical patient was waiting, and we were about to become stranded. Okay, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Nearest gas station, like right now. Just get us there." Liam veered sharply into the first station we saw, tires squealing in protest. Before the ambulance had even fully stopped, he was out fumbling with the gas cap, his movements jerky with urgency. "You go grab something, anything, for the crew back at the station." "They're busting their butts?" he called over his shoulder, already wrestling the nozzle into the tank. I nodded, grateful for the distraction. I pushed through the convenience store doors, the blast of stale coffee and sugary snacks hitting me. My eyes scanned for quick, grab-and-go items. That's when I saw him, another EMT, uniformed just like ours, standing by the self-serve coffee station. He was clearly having a rough morning. The machine was blinking in error, and he was trying to troubleshoot it, looking utterly defeated. "Rough one, huh?" I offered with a sympathetic grin. He glanced up, a tired half-smile. "Tell me about it. Just need some caffeine to see straight." He finally got the machine sputtering, pouring hot water into a cup, probably for instant coffee. And that's when she appeared, a woman mid-50s, with a haircut that screamed manager demanding and a sneer already forming on her face. She practically materialized next to the EMT, her voice a grating, entitled bark. "Excuse me, you in the uniform," she snapped, pointing a manicured finger at Dave. I later learned his name. "I need a sandwich, a fresh one, and I need it now." Dave, mid-sip of his almost coffee, blinked at her. "Ma'am?" he asked, clearly confused. I don't work here. I'm an EMT." He gestured vaguely at his uniform, which, while similar in color to some store employees, was clearly emblazoned with paramedic patches. Karen's sneer deepened. "Don't you lie to me? I saw you messing with the coffee machine. You're clearly an employee trying to slack off. Now, are you going to get me my sandwich or not?" She folded her arms, radiating pure indignation. I, standing a few feet away, clutching a box of stale donuts for the dispatchers, felt a laugh bubble up. I stifled it, but it was a close call. An EMT demanded to make a sandwich, while on duty. This was a whole new level of ridiculous. Dave, bless his calm soul, took a deep breath. "Ma'am, with all due respect, I am literally in the middle of a medical emergency. My partner is out there, filling our ambulance with gas so we can get to a patient." I'm not making you a sandwich." His voice was firm, but he kept his tone even. "Oh, so you're refusing a customer service request?" Karen shrieked, her voice rising several decibels. "I'll have you know I'm a regular here. I spend good money. I'm going to report you to your manager. You'll be fired." Dave just stared at her, a flicker of bewildered amusement in his eyes. You want to report an emergency medical technician for not making you a sandwich to his manager?" He seemed to be savoring the absurdity. Karen, mistaking his pause for weakness, puffed out her chest. "That's right. Who is your manager? I want to speak to them right now." By now, a small audience had gathered, other customers, a genuine store employee behind the counter, all silently enjoying the train wreck. I definitely wasn't the only one trying to bite back a grin. The actual store employee was covering her mouth, shoulders shaking. Dave, seemingly deciding he'd given her enough of his precious time, simply shook his head, sighed, and walked away from the coffee station towards the actual counter, where another EMT, his partner, I presumed, was already paying for a couple of sodas. "Don't you dare walk away from me," Karen screeched, following him. "You are being incredibly rude. I demand a sandwich." Dave ignored her, exchanging a weary glance with his partner, who just raised an eyebrow and pointedly looked at Karen, then at Dave's uniform. They shared a silent, exasperated moment. The gas station cashier, a young kid with an earbud in, chimed in, "Ma'am, he really doesn't work here. He's a paramedic. See the big patch? They're like ambulance people." That did it. The cashier's casual dismissal, the open snickering from other customers, Dave and his partner paying no mind to her demands, Karen's face went from indignant red to a blotchy purple. Her voice hitched. "This is outrageous," she sputtered, a final defeated roar. She whirled around, knocking over a display of candy bars with her flailing arm, and stormed out of the store, shoulders stiff, head held high in a pathetic attempt at dignity. The collective giggle from inside the store chased her all the way to her car. I paid for my donuts, still chuckling, and gave Dave a thumbs up. He just grinned, shaking his head. Back in the ambulance, Liam was already fired up, the tank finally full. As we pulled back onto the road, lights flashing, siren wailing, I told him the whole story. We both lost it. Hysterical laughter filled the cab, a much-needed release after the tension. "A sandwich?" Liam gasped, wiping tears from his eyes. "She wanted you to make her a sandwich." It was ridiculous, yes. But it was also a stark reminder, there are people out there, completely divorced from reality, who genuinely believe the world revolves around their immediate wants. Whether you're an EMT rushing to save a life, a barista just trying to get through a shift, or anyone else just trying to do their job, some Karens will always think their perceived inconvenience trumps everything else. It's wild, man. Just wild. Stay safe out there, folks. And maybe, just maybe, offer your local EMTs a coffee instead of demanding they make you a deli tray.
The thing about working contract security at a temporarily closed bank is that you're practically a human do not disturb sign. A very bored, very underpaid human do not disturb sign named Jasper, whose daily routine was less about guarding vaults and more about watching people walk towards inevitable disappointment. But nothing could have prepared me for the purple-faced fury that stormed my little booth that Tuesday afternoon. See, the bank I was assigned to was undergoing some major renovations. We're talking full gut job, so it was completely closed to the public for weeks. You'd think the huge closed banners, the orange construction fencing, and the general lack of tellers would clue people in. Nope. Every day, a fresh crop of oblivious folks would wander up, baffled. I'd just sigh, point to the signs, and watch them grumble away. This one, though, she was practically a textbook entry. Hair sculpted into a sharp blonde helmet, designer bag clutched like a weapon, and an air of entitlement that could curdle milk. She marched right past a particularly large bank-closed banner, straight up to my security booth window, tapping impatiently on the glass before I even had a chance to open it. I slid the window open, putting on my most neutral customer service smile. "Hi there, ma'am. Can I help you?" Her eyes, narrowed to slits, scanned my uniform. "Yes, you can. I need to speak to the manager, Mr. Harrison, immediately. I have a rather urgent deposit to make." I internally braced myself. This was a daily occurrence, but her tone already set off alarms. "Ma'am, I'm sorry, but but the bank is actually closed right now for renovations. Mr. Harrison and all the staff won't be back until we reopen in a few weeks." She scoffed. A truly magnificent, dismissive sound. "I don't care if it's closed for renovations," she snapped, her voice already climbing. "I have an appointment, and I need to make my deposit now. This is a substantial sum, and I simply can't wait." "I understand that, ma'am," I said, trying to keep my voice even. "But as I said, there's nobody here. The building is empty, save for me and the construction crew during the day. There's no manager, no tellers, no vault access for customers." She actually rolled her eyes at me. Rolled her eyes. "Listen, young man, I don't appreciate your condescending tone. I've been banking here for 20 years, and I expect a certain level of service. Get Mr. Harrison on the phone or let me in to make my deposit." She pointed imperiously at the sealed, dusty entrance doors. My patience was starting to fray, but I'd dealt with worse. "Ma'am, I can't do that. The entire building is secured, and access is restricted to authorized personnel only. Even if Mr. Harrison were here, he wouldn't be able to process a deposit for you until we officially reopen." Her face began to redden, a truly impressive shade of scarlet spreading from her neck upwards. "Are you telling me you're the only one here? Who do you think you are in charge of a bank? This is utterly preposterous. Get me your supervisor, or better yet, get me someone who can let me in." I took a slow breath. "Actually, ma'am, at this very moment, I am the one in charge of security for this building, and my supervisor, if they were here, would tell you the exact same thing. The bank is closed, and you cannot enter." That was it. Her face turned a furious shade of purple. Her voice escalated into a full-blown shriek. "This is unacceptable. You are impeding me from conducting my business. I am going to call the police and have you fired. You'll be begging for change on the street by tomorrow for this." A small, defiant chuckle escaped me before I could stop it. The absurdity of it all. "You do that, ma'am," I said, leaning slightly closer to the window, a genuine smile now playing on my lips. "I'm sure the police would just love to hear why you're demanding entry into a closed financial institution. Feel free to give them my name and badge number." She spluttered, speechless for a rare moment, then let out a frustrated growl. She spun on her heel, her designer bag swinging wildly, and stormed off the property, muttering threats about corporate lawsuits and my impending unemployment that faded into the hum of the HVAC. I leaned back in my chair, exhaling slowly, a weird mix of exhaustion and triumph washing over me. My job was often boring, but sometimes it really delivered. And sometimes you just had to laugh at the sheer, unadulterated entitlement of it all.
This next one might just be your new favorite.